is this guy right here. The tee, a ball. If you're lucky enough to have a net, awesome. If you don't have a net, then use a tennis ball and just bang that tennis ball or maybe even a wiffle ball around your room, around your backyard, around your garage. But this right here is my tool. Why? Because Albert Pujols uses it. Mike Trout uses it. Cody Bellinger uses it. They all use it to try to get their swing fine-tuned. And the way I hit dingers is by doing my favorite drill off the tee, which is to take a good healthy hack, trying to hit the ball off the tee somewhere towards center field, and then hold my finish at the end for 2 seconds. If I've got somebody with me, I'll ask them to try to push me over because I'm looking for good balance. I can't hit a dinger. I can't hit a bomb. I can't have a reliable swing unless I can hold my finish. Now you might think, well, in a game you got to run the bases. Why do you hold your finish? Because it's practice. It's way different in practice than in a game. You think in practice. You try different things in practice. You over-exaggerate and you perfect in practice. That way in the game, you can just play baseball. You can just entertain the crowd. So for me, it's just stepping up to a tee, banging balls off a net, or maybe off my garage door, and then hold my finish. And I'll try to scratch my back for 2 seconds just to make sure that I'm dialed in. That's my favorite. What about you, Cam, the man?
Yeah, good one. Especially just to get started, you know, I'm just kind of assuming I haven't talked to anyone here about hitting. So just kind of to get some baseline philosophies out of the way. And I think you hit the nail on the head as far as, yeah, I'm not going to hold my finish unless I'm hitting the walk-off homer in Game 7 of the World Series because then the season's over and I can stand there as long as I want. But if I land and I'm in a strong position and my feet don't have to move, then that's an indication of a good swing. Off the tee, that ball's not going anywhere. In a game, there might be late movement and I got to reach, and that's going to pull me out of my strong base. But let's practice the best things possible, which is going to help us be more successful. So my favorite word for hitting is adjustability. So it doesn't matter what age you are, you're going to continue getting older, and the guys you're playing with are going to continue getting better. And what happens with the range of velocity that you have to face, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? When you get to the big leagues, you've got Aroldis Chapman throwing 105, and then you have some matchup lefties that might have some off-speed pitches that clock in at 74, right? So being able to hit different pitches is super important, and having adjustability. So my favorite drill off the tee is called a step back drill. So if I'm set up to hit off my tee here, and I don't have my tee, so you're just gonna have to watch. So I want to step back away from the pitcher, be able to balance, hold my position there, step back, balance, and then come back forward. And our younger hitters, me and Coach Ballgame are a little bit older, so we got bigger, stronger legs, and that's just part of growing up. But younger hitters are going to have a tough time getting back here and being balanced, right? My foot's off the ground, okay? And then I want to be able to control myself coming back forward when I go to swing, and that's what's going to help you have some adjustability in your swing. That's my favorite one there.
Adjustability. I dig that word a lot. And guys that are just tuning in, give us your nickname. Comment it in the comment section, and any questions you have on hitting. The first thing that we got was a question about our favorite hitting drill and how to hit dingers. So for me, it's all about just balance, holding your balance finish. And for Cam, it's the step back drill, being able to step back, right, and balance yourself on that back leg, and then take that step and into the baseball. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this front foot. When we do our step back drill, boom, just like this, this is an interesting topic as far as hitting goes. Some hitting coaches like the step. Some hitting coaches say keep the toe on the ground, heel up, heel down. Some hitting coaches will say take a little step and leave it right there before the pitcher releases the ball. I think it's different for each kid. I think you've got to find your own path as long as you can check a couple of boxes. And I'll let you answer that first, and then I'll go in. No matter what happens with this front foot, if it comes up, if it stays in the ground, if you toe tap and keep it kind of rooted before the pitcher even throws the ball, what box do we need to check with that front foot, Mr. Cameron Monger?
Yeah, so I think you reposted the IG video with me in the wall. And I talked about this as a big indicator that younger players make this mistake. So I talked about getting into the back hip. So I'm getting up here next to the wall. Let me get a better angle here. So I'm getting up here next to the wall. I'm pretty close where I can touch the wall and I can touch my leg, okay? From here, I'm balancing. I'm trying to put my back pocket on the wall while I keep my chest back. But the big mistake a lot of younger guys make, and it might make more sense if it's straight on here, is as I'm trying to understand how to use my back hip and lift this leg, the most common thing kids do is they go this way, right? So I get elevated and I tip over here. If you watch elite hitters that have leg kicks, right? If you could light up my belt, my baseball belt, when I lift my leg, it stays right here as I come back forward. If I have this movement, okay, now I have a tough time because once I come up, I got to crash back down. So having that movement, if you're leg kicking or if you're not leg kick, right, what happens when I don't leg kick, right? My belt buckle stays here. If I just pick my heel up and set it back down, I stay there. So then if I go to pick my foot up, I want to have that same control that this belt stays in a straight line. If I pick up and I go this way, that's where I get in trouble and I'm inconsistent.
So you can even think of it like you've got a book on your head and you're trying to balance that book on your head. You hear a lot, you don't want to be moving your shoulders too much. You don't want to drop the back shoulder. You can imagine there's a little Coke bottle on your back shoulder, something that you can just balance. But the idea there is your head can't move. We don't have any room for head movement, not when it's coming in at 79, 89, 99, whatever. If our head's moving, we're not going to be able to hit the baseball off the barrel consistently. So the best hitters in the game, it doesn't matter if they're lifting their foot, if they're quiet, if they're a little bit bigger, whatever it is, their heads stay super, super still. I see your brain's working there. Go with something, Cam.
No, I was finally getting on a good angle so you guys could see that wall drill. And so again, if you're a leg kick kind of kid or you want to practice it, and someone else also asked, how do I get my kid's butt into the swing? This is the movement because you want good back hip movement. So the analogy I talk about on this drill too is I'm a screw going into the ground. So as I lower, I'm getting turned. And that's where then my butt goes forward as I go. So you can see as I come down, I'm getting a slight little bit of turn. And that's where I'm getting flex in this backside here.
And that turn is really engaging the core, right?
Exactly. Engaging the core and engaging the leg muscles. So one thing that's unique about baseball, right, is it is a max effort sport, okay? What happens after a pitch? We got 15 seconds. We get to step out. We get to fix our gloves. We get to adjust our hat, do all that crazy stuff, and we get back in. So if you think about like when we're in the weight room, right, I don't have to bang out 8 swings in a row. This is why in the home run derby guys get tired because they're not used to taking 20 swings, right? So I want to use the most amount of strength as possible, okay? So if you guys are at home right now, how many of these body weight squats can you do, right? A ton, okay? How many one-legged squats really slow can you do?
Oh, that's hard.
Okay? So that requires more muscle activation to do that move there. And I want full muscle activation for one swing, right? Because I'm trying to hit the ball as hard as I can.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're training here in this drill is slow, controlled, leveled movement, and teaching my leg that I want all of the muscle fibers to light up, not just a couple, like a quick movement.
That's outstanding. So, guys, if you have the ability, if you've got a bat, if you've got a wall, get up against it and show us one more time, Cam, exactly what you got up against that wall. You're up against it.
Yep, you got the wall right here, okay? So spread your hand out. You've got thumb and pinky. So my pinky touches the wall. My thumb touches the leg. Both my feet come together. And then I'm going to lift up this leg right here. You can just have your hands hang out. And you want to reach your back pocket to the wall while you keep your front side back. Eventually you'll make contact. And what you want to check on is my shoulder off the wall? And am I still over my backside? You should feel some pressure and tension on the backside here. Someone asked a quick question about favorite part about Miguel Cabrera's swing, which ties into exactly what we're talking about, right? He faces 99 and 89. And what I see in him is when he feels good, his swing looks like this.
Yep.
When he faces 99, it looks like this. So he has that adjustability in his swing. I really like his rhythm, timing, and tempo. And why he does that, why he varies his leg kick is because he doesn't want to be late. He wants to be on time or maybe a little bit early.
Yep. So the question that you have to ask yourself is, am I ready to get that front foot up? Am I ready? Meaning, can I still keep my head very still and not tilt? Can I keep my balance and be able to get that foot down quietly, landing on an egg without landing hard, moving, lunging, whatever you want to call it, falling over? For a lot of younger hitters, I don't think you're ready. I don't think you're ready to do that yet. So don't make it too complicated. Now, 14, 15, 16-year-olds, you feel like you're ready to pick that thing up, and you've been practicing this wall drill where the left B-humpish cheek goes up against the wall, and then you can really generate that power, do so. One question I have for you, Cam, we talk a lot about this knob of the bat right here, and of course, we've got a coil, right? If we're going to get the B-humpish against the wall, and we're going to really load up all that energy in the core and the back hip, we've got a coil, but we still need to see the pitch coming, so we don't want to be going too far. What's just perfect as far as where this knob goes and what's too far?
Yeah, so the cue that I like to talk about is I want to point my knob at the catcher, at the catcher's helmet, okay? So the catcher's right here. If I go up to the umpire, I'm getting pretty wrapped around, and it might make it pretty tough. So I always like to start kind of barrel up because I like to have hand movement. Some guys like to preset there, right? And that's a feel thing. I would suggest younger hitters try everything, and the stuff that you like the most, hang on to it, right? So I was a nice, easy float guy here, and then as I started my movement, I wanted my lower hand because I'm right-handed hitter, right-handed thrower. So my right hand is already better than my left. So I have to focus on my left hand. So I wanted my left hand to go from here to point the knob at the catcher. And that got me in that good, strong position where I could then come through the baseball.
Nice. And then as far as your eyes, for me, I really wanted my right eye. I'm a right-hander. I know I look left-handed right now, but I need to make sure I can see the ball with both eyes. Yeah. So I'm constantly doing this, even in the rhythm of my beginning. When the pitch hasn't even come, and I'm here. For me, that was a key. It was harder for me to tell my knob to stop at the catcher. So if I tell my right eye to stay on the pitch, then I won't go by too far. Love what you said about trying everything and seeing what works. That's what Little League's all about. That's what travel ball is all about. Middle school, even into high school, you're building your tool pouch up with all these different tools. And when he said, find out what you like best, what do you hit best with? What does your 4-for-4 game look like? What does your hidden bombs game look like? That's what you need to use. So I love the word feel that you said as well, that feel thing. You're just going to feel it. You're going to feel when you found something that really works for you. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about eyesight, so I wanted to chime in on that real quick.
Yeah.
So when we talked earlier about the hips, right, talking about keeping the hips level, the reason why I don't want to load this way is because then I'm going to crash this way, right? So we talk about having minimal head movement, and I think that makes sense to most people because I know that if I do this, right, I'm not going to be able to hit very well, okay? But your head doesn't have to be perfectly still. You don't have to be a statue, because as you go to hit, you are going to have some head movement, right? Things are going to move. The key is you don't want this guy to be a roller coaster. You don't want up and down movement. You want steady, consistent movement. So whether you're an up tall guy, a down low guy, the big focus is I want to be nice and steady, whether it's down, whether it's straight across, right? When I go to load, when I come forward, it's nice and easy, right? It's not like this, okay? So I come back forward. My head's moving, right? You can see that. But it's not moving this way, which is what's going to mess you up.
Absolutely, yep. And keeping it gradual, too. Nice and smooth with it. Right-handed hitter, a bad eye. So here's a couple things. First of all, read up on Edgar Martinez, because he had eye issues as well, and he had some great drills that he would do. He would put dots with a marker on a ball to really test his eyes, because he had eye issues. And also my daughter has the same thing, and we went in and had surgery. So I honestly think it's worth trying to go find an eye doctor that could work with that eye, because vision is paramount in hitting the baseball. It is 75, 80% of it. And I think the other 25% is right here in the brain once you worked on your swing. So highly recommend you go get it checked by an eye doctor, because they have lots of technology, and it fixed hers just like that. Welcome in, everybody. Tom Maddox, Heath, Mama, all the folks. We're having a hitting clinic here, and this is a great time for you to learn how to hit like a pro. We've talked about our favorite hitting drills, mostly with balance, and then the load of getting that pressure into your back hip and figuring out what to do with this front foot. Land on an egg, land quietly, while we keep our head very, very quiet and smooth, nice and still. As far as path to the baseball, there are lots and lots of kids that think they should be hitting the ball hard, but for some reason, they're just here. Instead of there, they're here. And I'm going to start out, and then maybe you can touch on
Sure.
how you teach hand path, how can kids get to that spot. But usually, the reason that the barrel gets here instead of there is what happens first. The first move of your hands. A lot of times, the hands want to go here. Maybe the flashlight goes to the umpire, like we were talking about. Or our first swing, which should be going forward, goes down. Or maybe back, and we don't even realize it. You probably don't even realize it unless you have somebody going slow-mo video on your swing. But there are so many young hitters that feel like they should be on time, but this little hitch or this little hitch, which they don't know they're doing, gets in the way. So for me, the drill I love to do, and it taught me how to have a short swing to the ball instead of a long swing. Everybody say that. Short swing to the ball. Short to the ball. In golf, we're long and smooth. In baseball, boop, boop, short. It's got to be short. Those are the balls that go the farthest, not the reach back. So the best drill I found, and something I did in college, is I would either do it off a tee or I'd have somebody doing soft toss with me. But I would get into my loaded position and get ready to fire. But before they threw the ball to me, I'd take my hands near my chin or near my neck, and I would just stop my hands right there. I'd keep that pressure in the back leg, but I needed to stop at this little spot right here to teach me that I can even swing from here, and it'll go a lot further than anything way back here. So I load, I stop, then the ball comes, and I swing from there. And it really taught me to take that first move forward. You hear a lot about this knob going towards the ball. Well, that is a great drill to teach that knob to go towards the ball, is just stopping right here, kind of halfway, and then swinging from there. Because the power isn't coming from your arms. It's really coming from this area that you just loaded up your power. So tight, short, to the ball works every time. Piggyback on that, brother.
Yeah, so kind of same drill, different language. And I think you talked about it where you think you're doing one thing, but if you actually saw it in video, what a lot of younger hitters don't realize they're doing is, we talked early, huge keyword is adjustability. And as I'm trying to figure out what the pitch is going to be, a lot of times these hands fall down here, and then I try to pick up and I get behind the baseball, right? So
show that path again. Just show that path again. What happened in slow-mo? See that barrel, guys? It's that barrel that just starts to wander back here and fall, and we don't even realize we're doing it. But when you break the swing down, that's what's happening.
So the drill, it's just a two-part swing, similar to what you were saying, and all I'm doing here is I'm breaking my swing up from the load to get it in a foot strike, and then the turn. Okay. So when I go to load, right, so I'm back, and then I get to a point where my front foot is all the way on the ground. It's flat. From here, I want to make sure my hands are in a good launch position, okay? For you hitters that have leg kicks or your foot comes off the ground, what you'll notice is you might look a little bit like this, okay? You'll start this two-part swing, and you'll go, and your foot hits the ground and your hands are already way out here, or they're already dropping down here. And that's where at foot strike, I don't care how you land your foot, right? It doesn't matter, okay? If I'm just to pick a heel up, as soon as my heel is all the way on the ground, this is where my hands should be in the best position, okay? And from here, when I go to rotate.
Write that down. Write that down. That is so key. When foot lands, we're at our most powerful with our hand position. Write it down, write it down, write it down again. Super important. Carry on.
Because from here, I've created forward movement, right? I maybe was here. Even if I was here, I was back, and then my heel strikes the ground. From here, I'm creating resistance as I turn. These are super advanced words, but what I want you guys to pay attention to, right, is my hands are staying in this little area as I go to rotate, boom, and then I'm going to extend through. So if you get the foot strike and my hands are down here, it's really tough for me to get flat and get through the baseball. So what you can do in this drill is go, uh-oh, let me get back up to here. This looks good, boom, and then you're going to come through and swing.
Super. That is so good, so good. I'm always learning new things in these Sandlot Instagram live sessions, and that is a great one right there. Just the ability to go ahead and stop right there.
And now I got you.
Or the knob is on the catcher, and you're in a very powerful position to fire from there. And you take that hitch out. You take this thing, this unwanted thing, but it was a tough habit for me to kick, no doubt about it. Yes, M9 Baseball, we will stop into your trivia. Thanks for paying it forward as me and Cameron go trivia all the time. Let's push pause. Let's hit Wolfie's question, and then we'll hit J.M. Dwyer's.
Yep.
So you're pulling the knob, not pushing it.
Neither, but go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Pulling the knob, absolutely, no doubt about it. You get to that great spot, and it's really a turn. It's an uncoil as opposed to all hands. And this is another good topic we can talk about. How much should your hands be driving forward, and how much should your hips be driving your hands to go in the right direction? What do you think, Cam?
Yeah, so this popular terminology in the upper echelons of baseball is swing sequencing, right? And again, going back to hitting philosophy, my goal as a hitter is to hit the ball as hard as I can so that it's tough on the defenders, right? As defenders get older, if they can field the baseball, the more likely I'm going to be out, okay? So we have to work backwards from strength and power and energy, okay? The strongest thing is right here, the ground, okay? Mother Earth ain't going anywhere, all right? It's got the most amount of strength and energy, and so that's why having a good foundation, a good base, and a good lower half movement is the best, okay? If you guys want to test me on this, measure your legs, measure your arms, okay? Which one's bigger, okay? You're going to have more strength here. So energy works from the ground up. So I have to have good base right here. My feet have to be solid into the ground. I have to have good lower body movement. From the lower half, I get into this area right here, okay? So as my lower body starts to turn, you're going to feel tension in your core, okay? Your core starts to turn. Ideally, my hands do nothing until contact, okay? My hands hang out here, right? We talked about that. As I turn, if I had a string from my hand to my ear or my beard or my hat, whatever, it's gonna stay right there. The only time my hands move is right there at the end, okay? I've had a lot of lower body movement. I've had a lot of core rotation. And then the last second, the hands kind of go through. So really, your hands are just guides. They're just making sure that the bat is staying in the right place. And then when it gets time, if you're completely on time, fastball right down the middle, bam, you get that little bit extra extension. That's where you get a little bit extra juice from. So I would honestly steer away from thinking about anything hands driven in your swing. As far as, because if you pull, I'm gonna have a tendency to do this.
Yep.
Right. If I push, I'm gonna lose my connectivity. So I would think about just keeping them in tight the whole time. Just keep them in here as long as you can, as opposed to pushing or pulling.
And this may seem like a lot for some of you that have never heard of this before, but that's why we have the quarantine, and that's why you have practice, and that's why you have batting tees. Because when I used to learn things, and especially things that were brand new, my brain would freak out because I'm like, I don't want to be thinking about these things in the game. I want to just play baseball. And then I met a few people that had great work ethic and practice regimens, and I realized, okay, I can do all these new things in practice, and I can practice hours and hours and hours, and then I don't have to worry about thinking about those things in the game. But again, just a great note as far as how little your hands really have to do until that barrel gets into the hitting zone. And then your hands can really work and get to the fastball. It can lag back and get to the changeup if we're looking at that pitch, the slider, all of it. But great way. Let's go ahead and answer the Will Warstick make USA stamped bats ? From J.M. Dwyer. And everybody, if you have any questions, throw them at us. This is a hitting clinic with
absolutely.
Cameron. Hello, Little Tizzle and Wolfie. Yeah.
So USA bats are a strong maybe. We just have to work through the certification process, which is big business, big lingo stuff. But while we wait for some more questions, I want to give you my favorite analogy about hitting in baseball in life. Okay.
Love it.
Well, you're a California guy, right? So
I'm living in California. I'm born and raised in North Carolina, but I've been out here for almost 15 years.
Have you ever been to the Redwoods?
Big ones, yeah.
Okay. So a full-grown redwood tree is a sight to see, right? I mean, it's hundreds of feet. Okay. How does the redwood tree start?
It starts with that little uproot from the ground, you know, it's a little guy.
Yeah, and what does that little itty bitty redwood tree need to grow?
What does it need, folks? Little photosynthesis, little sun, little
Yeah,
water.
sun, water, good soil, right?
Yep.
So from the seed to that little sprout, as long as it has good light, good water, good soil, it's going to get out of there. When you see that little itty bitty redwood tree, do you look at that tree and you're like, man, that's a dumb tree. That tree won't ever be anything at all, no matter what. Or do you keep watering it and you keep getting some good sunlight and hopefully it's still in some good soil and it's going to keep growing, right? The end of the spectrum, the larger redwood trees that are fully grown, but they're still growing, right? What do they need to continue to grow?
Somebody answer that question before I do. Somebody answer it. What does it need?
Give me one of the pieces maybe in the comments, but it needs the same stuff, right?
Yep.
So we talked about doing tee drills today. Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, those guys hit off the tee, the exact same tee you guys are hitting off of, right? They're hitting 5-ounce baseballs, right? Your baseballs are going to be 5 ounces. You can weigh it if you want to. The work, the energy, the effort, it remains the same, okay? And understand where you're at in your hitting career or your hitting progression, okay? For our younger hitters out there, you're just getting out of the ground. You're just getting started. But it's the same energy, effort, work, time that is going to allow you to grow into being an elite hitter. There's no special sauce here. There's no hidden MLB hitting drill that we don't know about, and that's why we didn't make it, right? That's why we're not there. These guys are doing the same things that we're talking about. They work through the same progressions, okay? Water, sun, soil, having a positive attitude, working hard and putting in some time is always going to make you a better hitter no matter where you're at. So just know that just because you might not be the best hitter right now, the ingredients to becoming a better hitter don't change. You just have to keep working at it. You have to keep growing your little hitting tree, if you will, and keep working on it and stay positive and just know that you're going to keep growing and keep getting better.
Absolutely. Question about softball players. Yeah, Little Tizzle, there's not much difference whatsoever between the softball swing and the baseball swing. If anything, softball is even more about short and quick to the ball because it's really on you quickly and the ball can rise. The only big difference between softball and baseball is the underhand pitching. And for that, you just need some lessons with my friend Amanda Freed. So there's a name drop there, Olympic gold medalist. But I'll give you the floor there for our young ladies. Play baseball as long as you can, because I'm still waiting for the first female Major League Baseball player. And then second, they cross over so much as far as the skills go. What do you say to that?
Yeah, the swing in itself is essentially the same. Nothing really changes even when you get to the higher levels. We actually had Coach Lyle on our hitting chat maybe a week or two ago, who's coached with big league teams. He's coached D1 softball, and he'll even tell you at the highest level, the swings are the same. So you're talking about subtle differences of, as a pitcher, my baseball is coming in at maybe a 6 to 7 degree slope here, and in softball, it's a little bit flatter. So, but at the end of the day, what we talked about, swing sequencing, generating power from the ground, your legs are strong, flat bat, keeping the hands inside, all that stuff is going to play in the swing for sure.
Great question there, Little Tizzle, and she just wrote a letter, and we're gonna send it out to everybody soon. But it is one of the best pieces of writing. I've already sent it to Joe Buck, my pal, and he said it needs to be published, and it will be, and it'll be big, and we're gonna get big names to answer your questions, Little Tizzle. So stay tuned for that. I think a big reason why a lot of young hitters make mistakes within their swing, looking away, flying open, falling off balance, is they just want to hit it farther. They don't have the confidence that their ability, their mechanically sound swing, they don't feel like it's good enough or it's enough. And what I always tell them is, you're going to grow. You're going to grow. You're going to hit another 2 or 3 growth spurts. You're going to start lifting weights. You'll start doing stomach and legs and all of that good stuff. But there are no scouts in the stands right now. There's no college recruits in the stands until you're a junior. Just talk to the Brown University coach. He doesn't start looking until you're a junior in high school. So really nail down the mechanical side of things. The home runs will come as you grow. But if you start overdoing it and overswinging and trying to get a little more out of your body that takes out the good mechanics, then you're taking a step backwards. And same thing we talked about with Coach Dan Spring the other day with pitching. Work on the accuracy. Work on throwing strikes. The speed will come as you grow.
Yeah.
Back on that, brother.
100%. So what I would ask there is, if we're getting into the game and all of a sudden we have this extra level of effort that's coming into play, we have to do one of two things. Either we might be putting pressure on ourselves to try to really hit the ball, or in practice we're not practicing with enough intent that we want to bring into the game. So I think this idea, in your word for, or how you interpret this, is super important. So hang with me here until I get to the end. You want to swing hard in practice when you have the ability to do that, right? When you work on a drill, you want to get the drill right first, and then you want to increase intensity. But at some point, if you're just taking regular swings off the tee, if you're at the end of your practice session, right, you need to get your head in this space of, I'm on a field right now, I've got runners on second and third, and I'm trying to hit a ball hard to the center field fence. And you need to take that swing, okay? Then pay attention to what happens, right? Because if you never take your game swing until you go to the game, now the game's gonna be over and you're gonna be like, I don't like that swing at all. If you do it in the tee, when you don't have stats in your basement, in your backyard, then you have the ability to say, okay, in my game swing, I do all this stuff that I don't like. And you have the ability to learn and to adjust and make those changes in a controlled environment. Because games are super fun, they're super exciting, they're emotional, there's a lot of things that happen, and they go by really fast, okay? If we never take a game swing until we get into the game, we're never gonna fix our game swing. So know that when you go to work on your swing off the tee, off of drills, off of coach, a lot of it happens up here. And if you're not thinking of swinging hard, you're swinging like you do in the game, you're never going to be able to fix that swing.
Yeah, that's good. It's really good. That theme of speeding up practice so the game seems slow, that's a good one. It's a really good one. So as much inter-squad and imagination as you can do it. It really, really helps. This has been great. This has been 40 strong minutes of learning about hitting. We could throw a 3-day clinic, and one day we will. I'll go to Texas, and we'll do some coach Ballgame and war stick, sandlots, and things of that nature. But folks, I'm starting to do some private lessons of my own, in-person, social distancing. So there won't be as many of these sandlots per week, but we will still hit these up 3 o'clock Pacific, 6 Eastern, as much as we can. And I'll always bring in a guest. Yesterday, Nolan Jones, the Indians' top prospect, couldn't get his phone to work, so he's going to come back next week, and we'll get more as we go. But I appreciate everybody tuning in. Any final thoughts from you, Cam?
Yeah. Do you usually leave this up for 24 hours or typically?
I do.
Yeah.
This will be up for 24 hours, and I'm going to screen record it and post it to my YouTube. It's already on my YouTube, the sound of it. So you'll be able to go to my YouTube and hear and see the whole thing. Yeah.
So if you're watching this on record, Coach Ballgame and I just love helping. I mean, that's literally why we got brought into this world, is to help young ball players. So if you're watching this and you're like, man, I wish I could have asked them something, We're not very far away. A quick DM, quick message, we're pretty easy to get a hold of. We share the same path and message in this world to help young ball players enjoy the game first and foremost. And then if we can get better, we're going to enjoy it a little bit more. So just if you have questions that you didn't want to ask live or whatever, send us a message. We're here to help.
Hey, and for those of you that said thank you for saying thank you. That's what a ball player does. Toy Can and Elijah.